I recorded this whole script and my mic was already muted, so I have to re-record it. Why, hello there! It's me, Saint8. I'm materializing once again from the void to talk about a game I've been looking forward to for these past few months. This game is Raw Metal. Before that though, let's take a detour to talk a little about the history for this game. At some random art college in New York 2 years ago, a student named Corrigan Owen, who goes by the name of Arctic K9, uploaded an animation on YouTube. This was a semester-long project, and just by watching the animation in my opinion, you can tell this project oozes style and character. Highly recommend you give it a watch, especially given it's only a few minutes. Fast forward a couple of years, and that brings us to the topic of today's video. A couple days ago, as of this recording, on March 19th, Raw Metal released on Steam after a few months of the demo being out. After several hours of play, I can confirm this is one of the best stealth 'em ups I have played in recent years. I'll try to keep my gushing to a minimum though, because as great as I think this game is, I still have a few gripes, which I will relay toward the end of this video. I'll also break this game up into 3 sections: the gameplay, the story, and what I think the game did right and what the game did wrong. Spoilers for the first boss fight, and first 4 levels of the game. Starting off, gameplay. For your standard kit, you've got your punch and kick, your heavy variants of each, and a sprinting variant of each. Slide tackle, my beloved. For defense, you've got your dodge, and a somewhat generous window for that with invincibility frames. And with that also comes a parry, which is hard to pull off, but usually staggers most common enemies. It adds a bunch to your score in the top left, and feels really good to pull off consecutively. You only have 3 points of HP by default, so make them count. This blends together into a combat system that feels very rewarding to pull off well. While I was streaming this, someone in my chat said it looks like a sci-fi version of the game Sifu. I've not played Sifu, but I heard that game was very good. Speaking of chat, most of this gameplay you're seeing I stream live at twitch.tv/Saint8ishere. Every day at 9 PM EST. Feel free to stop by and chat a bit or lurk. It would be greatly appreciated. Shameless plug aside, let's talk a bit more about the things surrounding combat. In Raw Metal, there's 2 sides to this coin. There's the combat, which I just talked about, and then there's the stealth. The stealth gameplay is reminiscent of the top-down old Metal Gear Solid games. That combined with worrying about how much noise you make, and if you're in the light or not, leads to a pretty fulfilling stealth system. There's also plenty of gadgets such as concussion grenades, mines, noisemakers, tasers for both electronics and people, and then my favorite, the Terra module. Stealth is very useful because you can pull off sneak attacks to do massive damage before a fight. You can forego stealth for Russian stealth though, where you can't be detective if there is no one to detect you. Just be careful because this can lead to some rough circumstances. Shit, that's wrong key. That's 5 dudes. You know, when I said I was hungry, I didn't mean I wanted 5 guys. Starting out, a single fight can be a death sentence. Multiple is a hopeless situation until you get better, so be sure to stay in the shadows as much as possible until you get better at the combat. That's another reason why the Terra module is the greatest invention ever, because you can take a 2v1 or a 3v1 and put one of them just somewhere else. You may want to keep them around though, because there just so happens to be friendly fire. The main gameplay loop is to search around for these keycards to not only get access to helpful things like the lounge and forge, but also the elevator key to either return to the surface of this mine, or delve deeper into its depths, which I will talk about in a moment. You can also find various pieces of equipment which you can fix up and upgrade at the forge to give you useful benefits, like bonus movement and stealth, starting with and getting higher chances to loot tasers, or even adding damage to those tasers. Just be careful because you do have a carry limit, and going above that carry limit not only slows you down, but also slows down your attack speed. Anything you loot, whether it be containers or bodies, gives Grimite, the strongest in-universe metal, and also this game's currency. Grimite has various uses, but it's mostly for the lounge and forge, which I've mentioned earlier. After getting the elevator key, instead of going deeper into the mine, you can return to the surface, where you get to keep all your Grimite and gear for future runs. If you die in the mine though, you lose all of that. You can get your equipment back though from these confiscation bins. Now, the pinnacle of gameplay, the boss fights. Sublevel B. Is this a boss fight? Oh!
I don't know what you're looking for down here, but you're not gonna like what you find.
Yeah, I know.
You should have stayed home, kid.
Damn! This is Giga Chad Trevor Grimsdotier. Grimsdotier? How do I pronounce that?
Grimm's daughter.
Head of security. You have to be aggressive for these fights because bosses have a shield that recharges extremely fast if left alone for even a second. Fun fact about him. The voice actor for him dropped by my stream to say hi. For a small-time YouTuber and streamer like myself, this was a very cool experience. Afterwards though, his character proceeded to beat my ass for 2 days straight and steal my lunch money every goddamn time. Oh god. Launch me, dude? Oh my god! Ow. And ow. Okay. Need to stop button mashing. I'm gonna keep going until I run out of that scrap stuff. Yeah, I keep hitting the parry too early. Oh my god. Okay, so if you dodge the first, you pretty much have to parry the second. After beating him at almost 1 in the morning, I popped off so hard, Crisp, my AI software on my computer that helps, clean up my audio, deleted my reaction because it was just that loud.
I expected more from you.
Yes! Yeah! Next up is the story. I'll be honest, I have no goddamn idea what's going on in this game. All I know is you're a rebellious little teenager sneaking into a corrupt mega corporation's mine and stealing their cryptocurrency. There are audio logs around the game, though, that do flesh out the world building a bit, and it gives off the impression that there is something more going on. Alright, I might be biased, but in my opinion, these voice actors did an amazing job. Also, can we talk about that for a moment? The audio in general is fantastic. The punches and kicks feel weighty, and the guard quips are pretty funny. Zach Wilson did a fantastic job with the OST, which you have been hearing in the background this whole time. The visuals as well are very fluid and flashy and full of style. The fact that this game hasn't exploded and is barely being talked about is a goddamn crime. That's enough gushing from me, however. There's still things that could be improved in my opinion. I've noticed a few bugs like guards sliding along the ground and getting caught on level geometry. The guard AI overall needs a pathfinding adjustment in my opinion as well because currently they hug the walls a little bit too much. I've also noticed my stealth attacks sometimes not going through even though I press the button while the visual is on the screen, which leads to the guard walking into me. But then again, that could just be a skill issue. One thing that's definitely a skill issue, but I feel would improve the game a bit, would be to give the parry a few more active and recovery frames without the requirement of the buckler. I feel like that on top of the icon change from the demo would greatly help newer players getting into the game. Another thing about the parry is the slow motion is cool and all, but having to time that with back-to-back parries is a bit rough. So slightly extended parry windows when you just perform a correct parry would probably alleviate that issue a little bit, and it'd also feel extremely badass to land 2 or 3 parries back to back. Also, add sprinting attacks to the tutorial. I don't even think I realized you could sprint in combat until a few hours in the game, and that's with me being a capital G gamer. One last thing that I think majorly affects the game, charge attacks sometimes feel a little unresponsive, especially with the charge kick. I feel like a small adjustment to being able to action buffer charge attacks would alleviate this issue somewhat. Because currently, right now, that can really mess with the flow of combat. and make it feel a little bit clunky. Even with those nitpicks, Raw Metal is still an extremely polished and well put together game. One of the best stealth fighting games I've played in recent memory. The visuals and gameplay all flow together seamlessly into a satisfying package, and with only a $20 price tag, that's a steal in my opinion, and I highly recommend it. I really hope it gets a console release someday on either PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass, so that it can get the popularity it truly deserves. My final review for this game is a 9 out of 10, and it was a treat to watch this game develop. I look forward to seeing what Team Crucible puts out in the future. Team Crucible and all involved should be proud because I believe they developed something truly special. I wanted to make this video because Raw Metal is a very good game, and I really wanted to talk about it. If you're hearing this, thank you for sticking around for so long. It really means a lot. I know I already mentioned it, but I also stream on Twitch every night at 9 PM EST. Well, sometimes. Yesterday I didn't because I was making this video. Well, that's enough waffling out of me. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later.